When we walk into a store to buy something, whether it's an item of food or clothing, we all ask a series of questions before making a choice. Do I like this food? Is the price low enough? Does this shirt fit? Is the color good on me? These questions may be unconscious, and they certainly vary from person to person, but they are always present. While we're asking these questions of personal preference, how often do we stop to ask, did a modern-day slave have a hand in making this? This question may sound shocking, but we would probably be surprised at how often the answer is yes. Estimates for the number of slaves in our world today vary widely from 4 to 27 million, but there is no doubt that slavery is a pervasive part of our current global culture. Although the majority of these slaves are ensnared in some form of sex slavery, the United Nations Global Report on Trafficking in Persons found that 18% are subjected to forced labor, while also acknowledging this may be a misrepresentation because forced labor is less frequently detected and reported than trafficking for sexual exploitation. Perhaps this sounds like a faraway issue in developing countries, but in today's global economy, a single incident of forced labor can affect products on the other side of the world. Simply by purchasing popular brands in America, we are participating in the modern-day slave trade on a daily basis. But through information and advocacy, we have the opportunity to change that. Today, we will first look at the issue of modern-day slavery in American industries and the obstacles in the way of ending this slave trade. And then we will look at what we as students can do to work towards a tomorrow with fewer slaves. Although largely unseen, the current commercial culture in America is heavily supported by slave labor. Although the words slave labor may evoke very specific and tragic images from our nation's past, according to the State Department, it can take on many forms. In an article that addresses the challenges of finding and removing labor trafficking, they acknowledge human trafficking often begins with fraudulent and unscrupulous labor recruitment practices, such as charging workers recruitment fees and confiscating identity documents. These deceptive practices and debts render workers vulnerable to compelled servitude. Other factors that can lead to human trafficking include risk based on race and country of origin, as well as remote locations for the actual forced labor. Perhaps these factors make modern-day slavery sound far away, but even modern-day slavery on the other side of the world can quickly tie back to the American economy. In June of 2013, a report released by Warehouse Workers United revealed that a certified shrimp supplier for Walmart, located in Thailand, was entangled in serious human rights abuses, including utilizing underage workers, non-payment of wages, charging workers excessive fees for work permits, and an ineffective auditing regime. Likewise, at the prompting of an Australian news story in 2008, Nike discovered serious workers' rights violations at one of their t-shirt factories in Malaysia. These violations included withholding the passports of foreign workers and negative working conditions. Although these incidents happened on the other side of the world, they were part of the supply chains of popular American brands. This is the food we eat. These are the clothes we wear. The last step in this system of slavery is us. Although outrage is easily expressed by company and consumer alike at the discovery of modern-day slavery, unfortunately, it's not nearly as easy to solve the underlying problems that make this industry possible. According to the State Department, labor trafficking is harder than it may seem to find, quantify, and remove because it can occur at any point throughout the process of manufacturing. Even if a piece of clothing was made in a slave-free factory, the raw materials could still come from suppliers who utilize slave labor. Due to the complex network of opportunities for slave labor to exist in American industries, we need a tremendous amount of political and social will based on accurate knowledge to move companies to more thoroughly investigate their own supply chains. The issue is not convincing these companies that slave labor is bad, but rather showing them where and how it occurs under their authority, showing them that we will not stand for it, and showing them that they can make a difference individually. So how do we show businesses that we care about the oppressed workers in their supply chains, enough that they will do something about it? One traditional method is boycott, but how would we even know what not to buy? The issue of modern labor trafficking is so pervasive, so hidden, and so complex that it goes far beyond individual companies to the culture at large. Before we can effectively tackle this issue at a legal level, we must first create a culture of both companies and consumers who know and understand what is happening and care enough to do something about it. So if boycotting is not the answer, and the first step is spreading understanding, what can we as students do to help eradicate slave labor in American industries? The U.S. government actually has a recommendation for us, and it starts with a simple website called Slavery Footprint. At slaveryfootprint.org, you can take a brief survey of your lifestyle and purchasing habits to help you identify where you support slave labor on a daily basis as a consumer. Once you know what slavery-prone industries you support, Slavery Footprint gives you the opportunity to send notes to companies within those industries. These notes first establish common ground by acknowledging that the companies do not want to support slave labor, and then they ask these companies to more thoroughly investigate their own supply chains using innovative software developed by Slavery Footprint's sponsoring organization, Made in a Free World. This software is specifically designed to help companies find and remove labor trafficking within their own supply chains. Once you've taken the survey yourself and sent notes to businesses, you can share what you've learned with others via word of mouth and social media. By bringing the issue of labor trafficking to the attention of companies and consumers alike, you can be part of developing a culture that sees and understands this tragic injustice. Now, whenever you're shopping, the question, was this made by a slave, can be part of your criteria. By lending your voice to the outcry against those who would tolerate modern-day slavery, you are working towards the day when no matter what product you're evaluating, you can answer no to this question with confidence. So what does this mean for you, right here, right now? Go to slaveryfootprint.org and take the survey. Next, send notes to the businesses you regularly support. And finally, share what you've learned with others. Together, we can make our voices heard as we stand against the issue of modern-day slavery. Thank you.